Hello, Pasta fam. It's your second favorite host, Caroline, here. As we mentioned at the end of last week's episode, we are taking a week off, but we didn't want to leave you empty handed. And so we've got something really special for you today. This is an episode of the Degrassi Film Club, which is a monthly program we have on our Patreon where we watch and discuss a movie starring at least one Degrassi alum. This one is for She's Too Young, which stars everybody's favorite cause girl, Miriam McDonald, who has once again found herself with a social disease in her throat. We hope you enjoy it.
No STI is a good STI, but syphilis,
Syphilis can
left untreated,
literally
will eat
boil
your
your
brain.
brain. I was thinking that same. That was my note. I said, "Young man, your brain will liquefy in your skull if you don't get the shot. Also, stop talking to adults like that." Hello and welcome to the second meeting of the Degrassi Film Club. I'm Avis.
I'm Caroline.
And today we are discussing the Lifetime masterpiece She's Too Young, starring our very own Emma Nelson, aka Miriam McDonald.
And this came out in 2004, so this is right about the time that Emma's being really uppity about Manny being a slut.
Yeah, it like the shoes on the other foot in this case.
Yeah. Um, I have to say I was surprised with this movie. Like, I wouldn't call it great. I wouldn't even really call it good, but it
It's
was way better than Christmas at Maple
semi-competent.
Creek.
Oh, it is so much better than Christmas at Maple Creek. For one, I was actually invested in this plot. There was a plot
Yes.
to be and loose ends to be tied up and things and characters to follow. There,
Did they tie up the loose ends? You'll have
that's
to wait till the end.
debatable. Yeah. I like the premise though. Honestly, the actress very much reminded me of Cassie Steele. I was like, they really I don't know if they intended to do that, but she just bears a very uncanny, especially when she smiles and says like hi mommy and stuff. Like she has very Manny like
Mm.
season 1, season 2 Manny vibes.
She's she's interesting to me because she pops up and stuff periodically, and I'm always like, why do I know this girl? And the
Yeah.
only thing I know her from is Broken Flowers, which is a Bill Murray movie.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that
She
one.
looks like she should be more well known than she is. She also kind of reminds me of the daughter from How I Met Your Mother, who is also in Desperate Housewives.
Hmm. These people. Uh
She is Catherine's daughter in Desperate Housewives in season 5. Is it 5 that Catherine shows up? It is.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like she's definitely someone I think should have been in more things than she's been in. Oh, Andrea Bowen?
No. That's
I don't yeah, I have not seen Desperate Housewives.
no. Hold on. Her
Who is
name's Dylan in Desperate
um
Housewives.
okay. So like
The actress is named Lindsay Fonseca,
oh, okay. Oh,
and they're
yeah.
different looking, but there's a couple of things about their face where it's like one of them is the Wish.com version of the other.
Yeah. I
Or like if you
definitely
ordered either one from Wish.com, you'd get the other one.
right. There and I think that's fair. She has a very like mm, it's like her look is unique, but it's also like you could mistake her for a couple different people.
Mm.
Um
But I thought she did a pretty good job in this.
She does. It like I feel like at times they really tried to get it cuz like I think what the movie has going for it is how like there were not movies like this being made that were airing on Lifetime, and they whitewash things a lot now where they make it very sanitized and they don't really show anything at quote unquote, whereas in this film I was actually, I won't say shocked, but I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot that they showed this raunchy ass shit. Like these are supposed to be
Yeah.
teenagers." And I don't know that I think that they're more raunchy with adults now than they ever were on Lifetime, but I
Right.
think that they've kind of pulled back on being super like pull back the curtain. This is what your kids are doing. Like
Can
that commercial.
can
It's
I?
11
Yeah.
p.m. Do you know where your children are?
I just have to say, I love that this movie was not afraid to use a montage.
No, they loved a
Boy, did it use the
montage.
montage. We start with this like close up and then pan out of this watercolor painting of a young girl on a beach. Her
Very
back is
poetic.
turned, she's got pigtails, whatever. And that then sweeps into a montage of her childhood photos,
Hmm.
which then turns to a montage of our three main girls getting ready to go out.
Hmm.
Great cast. We've got
Yeah, stacked cast,
Miriam
yeah.
McDonald. We've got the girl who looks like she should be in more stuff,
Megan
and
Park.
we've got
Yes.
and then we've got the uppity Jesus girl
Oh no, oh sorry, that's Megan
from
Park.
Secret Life of the American Teenager.
Yes, right. We did say one, yes. We were
And
just
they're
talking.
all getting ready in their rooms that have a bunch of rap posters, except for Secret Life girl, who is also once again playing a Christian. Um,
Right. That was one of my notes.
she's
Like,
got
why is she
really creepy ass posters up in her room.
typecast? And her room itself is pretty
Yeah.
creepy. Like, I don't like all the ruffles and like the choice to go completely like tan
Well, you
with.
know, none of that was her choice.
Oh, none of that was her choice, and she's obviously like at least I feel like a change of bedroom was in order around like 12 years old, because like
Right.
what the fuck? Like that's like a 5-year-old's bedroom. I feel like even a 6-year-old might think that that was fucking lame. Like a 7-year-old
Right.
would be like, this is dumb.
Um, but yeah, so these are bad girls. They're
These are our
slutty.
main
They're
main players, yeah. Oh my
and
gosh.
Becca's got to sneak out of her house to go out.
This girl is so, and I feel like here's my issue with this. As soon as I saw her sneak out, I'm like, okay, so it's because not to jump ahead, but I think it's relevant to the time frame of where what they're sneaking, what time they're sneaking out. So Becca is this girl's name, the Christian girl. She sneaks out of her house, but then we get the last person we see is the like the innocent girl who should be in more things, Hannah. She has to like she's talking to her parents and telling them that she's going out. So
It's not that late.
it's
It
not that late. Why is she
right
just
when Emma
confident
leaves
to
the
be able
house,
to
her
right?
mom gives her a curfew of like 10.
10, right. So we can assume that it's enough time for her to be like, okay, I want fighting for a little bit of a later, like even like I think she gets the 11
Well,
o'clock curfew.
she does. Well, and I just realized too, towards the end, it's snowing. So it's winter. So
Mm,
presumably it could be like 4:30.
I was gonna say, and she's just so confident to leave her house without fear that her parents are going to check on her
Right.
consistently. Like it's not like she just does it, okay, I'm sick and goes to lay in her room or whatever. Like no, this is her fucking MO. She's always got her little sack ready to just fucking leave her house at a moment's notice.
And I love the moms that we get to the like mom interactions we see early on. So we've got
Yes.
Emma's character, whose name is Dawn, leaves the house. She's not wearing anything like that atrocious,
Mm,
but like
no.
she's wearing like a fishnet top and whatever. And her mom's just like, let me see. Oh no, you need a little bit more lip gloss.
Right.
So Dawn's mom is like recent divorcee and like she's not a regular mom. She's a fun
She's a fun.
mom.
It was very much giving me Emma and Spike in the case of okay. very much more dysfunctional, more the dynamic than the situation, but just I mean the
Right.
situation too. She's a single mom, but just there was obviously a husband there that she's really but I was
Right.
like, this dynamic is so very much Emma and Spike if there was way more dysfunction and way more horniness on Spike's part.
And then we get Hannah's mom who gets home just as Hannah's like about to go out the door.
Mhm.
Who like 5 minutes into the movie says the title of the movie, which I love. They only did it once. I was a little disappointed.
Actually, as soon as you said that, I was like, okay. And I checked on the counter. I was like 18 minutes in when I saw your text. I was like, oh, but I have only heard it the one. But let me pay attention now. So I rewound it
They
and
only
went and
said it one
started from
time.
then.
It was really disappointing. But I love when they say the title of the movie, and like this is the kind of movie where like they're gonna say the title at least once.
Yeah. And like I feel like I've been watching a couple of these Lifetime movies lately, so it's on I feel like you can make like a bingo card, but one of them is I don't even know you anymore or I don't know who you are.
Right. Uh,
That gets dropped in here too. So
but so
fun.
they go out for ice cream. Hannah's mom insists on meeting Nick. I spent half the movie trying to figure out where I knew this smarmy little asshole from.
Who is he?
Literally the only thing I know him from is he was in Everwood.
Oh, okay.
Um, when Harriet the Spy's best friend first moves to Everwood, he falls for the girl from Revenge. But then it turns out that the girl from Revenge has a boyfriend who's in a coma.
Okay.
And he's the coma boyfriend who then eventually gets out of the coma.
Coma
Um,
boyfriend.
and he sucks. He sucks. He sucked in
Yeah,
that.
I
He sucks in this.
Oh, I think I know him from American Pie too. That
Was he in American Pie?
that's what it says. I would know. I feel like this is the film I really know him from. Calling this a film, this is film club, but loosely titled a film here.
We can
But
call it a film.
I just feel like I this is primarily what I know him from. Um, but if I had to hazard a guess, he's got a very inconsequential role in American Pie 2, and that could be conceptually also where I know him from, but that is completely like me taking the
Yeah,
internet's
he's
word for it.
mostly been in a lot of not very good or
Right.
noteworthy stuff.
Like I haven't seen
Um,
half of this shit.
he's got a longer resume than I would have thought, but
Hmm.
he sucks. He sucks in Everwood. He sucks in this. He probably sucks in American Pie too.
It's very much it so you know the scene early on because you know the girls they Becca's character essentially ditches the other two at the internet cafe and
I
goes
love
and
that there's a
hooks up.
cyber cafe.
There's this cyber cafe and who
Yeah,
goes and
there's
hooks
like
up with
another
Nick.
montage,
Yes.
cheap
Uh,
motel sex montage
oh
with
god.
really weird music playing in the back. It's just like some chick being like, "It's exactly what I like" over and over again.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
weird, and I
These are
love
choices made.
Nick doesn't have a condom. Because we learned this because Becca
Uh
says, "Where's the glove?"
yes. I was
And he's
expecting her to
like,
say then no love. Like that would have been
"Right."
that you just teed it up and then you're just like shrugs like oh no it's fine but the way
It's
he's
very
like
after school special. They lay it on so thick.
because he's like oh I could go get one but then you'd be doing English homework until or whatever till I get
Yeah, he's
back.
like, "I guess you could sit here and do English homework until I get back," and that's enough.
Like
That she's
bitch
like,
I
"Let me take off my
will.
pants."
Like bitch I will certainly sit here and pull out the English homework that I undoubtedly have in my big ass sack. um no, she's down for the unprotected sex, so that's terrifying because she's 14.
At
So
which point
there's
we shoot over to the internet cafe where Becca
hmm
and her name is Dawn in the movie, but guys, we're
it
just
is
gonna call her
Dawn.
Emma. We might slip
i
up and call her Dawn. If we do, that's who we're
I
talking
like
about.
Dawn. Yeah, I'll be
I
calling her
thought it was
Dawn.
Donna at first, and I was like, "Ooh, why would you do that?"
No, I don't know why but I remember that her name was Dawn because I think I was like that is such a early 2000s
Now,
thing
had
to
you
name your
seen this
kid.
before?
Oh, I've seen this. This was a like a staple of
Oh, see,
my.
this was my first time.
Really? No, this was
Yeah,
like a movie that was like one of those movies that you watched because you wanted to like see if it was accurate, but I watched it to see how wild things were for other people because I didn't have sex in high school. But this was very much like a movie that I watched in my mid to late teens. It scared me. It stressed me out. Because I love
it's very
Degrassi. So
stressful.
I just happened to be, and I loved Lifetime. So I was getting into my Lifetime era. So I was just happening to go through the channels and saw this film on. I was like, okay, Emma's doing some risque shit. But no, it was very much so. I like the scene later on when um Nick is at his house alone and his
Mhm.
or his dad leaves him that voicemail. I'm like, that is giving Jimmy medium
Yeah, no,
pepperoni.
my notes say Nick has parents like Jimmy's.
Oh, totally.
His parents do not love him.
They do not love him, and then we see his mom later, and it just hammers home he is not loved. This boy is not loved.
Oh
Oh
my
my
god,
gosh.
that we're gonna get to the
We're gonna
moms.
get
It's
to the
weird,
moms.
but
Yeah. Oh gosh. But
but
yeah.
so we find out at the cyber cafe. Remember when
Mhm.
I don't know if you all remember, those were a thing for a while because everybody
Mhm.
didn't have internet.
Mhm.
And you could go and pay basically to rent a computer, a desktop, and sit there. And I think a lot of them had coffee, which is weird because like you'd think they wouldn't want teenagers drinking coffee at their expensive computers, but the
Hip.
early aughts were a crazy time.
Yeah. Hip and
And we learned
vibing.
that Dawn dated Nick for like 10 seconds, um,
Yeah.
but that he only goes for babes like Becca, and
Mhm.
Dawn is maybe average plus.
Which I'm like,
We're
not
talking
to.
2004. Miriam has had her glow up.
I was gonna say,
It's
like,
not
to be fair,
finished.
no, but like she's got like her hair is suddenly all shiny, and
Mm-hmm.
like you could tell that the braces that she had worked for her, and her skin's clear. Like she's thriving, and she's
Yeah,
tall. She's grown into her tallness. Like she's very much out of the any awkwardness that she had in adolescence. She's very much out of because she is slaying this entire film.
she really is. And like, so we learn Nick dates around. Basically, everybody
Hmm.
seems to date around. We'll get to the parties and stuff.
We have
This
to
is a
get to.
very
Oh,
affluent community.
these kids are
Um,
bored as fuck, I
they
guess,
are
and
bored as fuck.
no one, yeah, but
And a lot of their parents don't love them, so there's empty homes to have orgy parties in.
clearly, plenty.
Um, Emma ends up, Dawn ends up ditching Hannah to go sit with Brad in his car and listen to the new Kingpin Pimp tape.
And
Um,
he invites Hannah first,
he
but Hannah says
does.
no. And then she's like, Dawn's like, I like Kingpin, whoever the fuck that is.
It was.
And
Can we just
then,
call him Kid Elric?
yeah, I'm good with that. That is a good substitution for me. And she's like, oh, you can get a ride home, right? Which is like, and then she has girls at the door calling her a hoe.
No,
calling
Hannah calls her a slut. She walks away, and Hannah's like, "God, what a slut."
Really? I thought the girls at
Mm-hmm.
the door said that. We're like whispering about it.
They might have been whispering, but Hannah outright calls her a slut, and then gets a ride home from her mom, who at
Mhm.
this point kind of seems sucky. Like, because we show them pulling back up to the house, and her mom's like, "You can always call me, no questions asked." And then they're getting out of the car, and she's like, "I just don't understand why Nick couldn't give you a ride home."
Yeah.
And like, if you're gonna tell your kids no questions asked, you have to mean it, because otherwise, after the first time, they're gonna know you're full of shit, and then they get in the car and they ride home drunk.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like I feel like as well intentioned as I felt like this mom was, I do think that she always tipped it for me. It's like, okay, I think that when she goes out to get the number of Nick is very reasonable, especially for this time, because it's like, okay, I don't know you.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
you. You
You're
are.
literally you're old enough
He's
to
a
drive my
junior.
14-year-old kid around, right? Like I need to get some information on you, you little bitch. But then to, like you said, be like, oh yeah, this is fine. Call me whenever, and I got you, no questions asked. And then to like kind of break that is it sets up later because that is something that happens that she doesn't call her mom later on in the film. So it's
Right.
definitely like, yeah, you should just kind of stick to that because as a parent is how you are going to keep your child believing in you and what you say. Is if you just do what you say you're gonna do, even if you want to know, because she'll probably tell you. If you like give her some breathing room, give her a couple days, she'll probably come and be like, yeah, this happened
Right.
because you held up your end of the bargain and you weren't like a smother mother.
I love. So then we see we're at school, and Nick Lake is into Hannah now.
Mhm.
She's at the locker with her dorky friend, who I spent half this movie thinking his name was Alex. Actually, I spent like 4/5 of this movie thinking
I
his
was
name was
gonna
Alex, but
say
I think
he
it's
has a
actually
name.
Tommy.
He has a name. His name is
He has a
Tommy.
name.
Is it said? Is his name said
No, it
audibly?
said when her parents show up at his house towards
Okay,
the
I
end when
was
he
gonna say.
calls them.
Yeah, I
But
wasn't paying
I thought it was
attention to that.
Alex for some reason, and they're having a very smart conversation about Hawthorne versus Poe and blah blah blah. They're deep. They're the smart kids.
Yeah,
They're dorky. I didn't
yeah,
think I was gonna like Tommy. At first, I was getting like Creeper White Knight best friend vibes,
yeah.
you
They
know. But
because they
Tommy actually
don't.
ends up coming in clutch.
Oh yeah, Tommy's great, but like I really think that that's because they kind of forget about him because she's doing other things and they don't even go back to him. Maybe they give him one more scene before she starts to kind of gravitate towards him again in the end, like towards the
Right.
end of the movie. Like they just like fuck Tommy. I didn't even know Tommy's name, so I mean, he was only but
Um,
so relevant. They're like, oh yeah, we've got a character, we got to because he plays a major role.
and I had to take note that while while Nick is asking Hannah out,
Mm-hmm.
our lovely Dawn is like leaning against the locker, fucking lurking.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
Miriam
It's so
McDonald can lurk.
weird. It's right. She really can. And it's so weird to me that like I don't think that this was never I mean, okay, in certain friend groups there was a lot of, I called it friend cest, where you really just all sleep with each other. It happens in all the TV shows, but that's because they need to have people fucking in TV shows, but they only have a limited main cast. So everybody, unless they're siblings, like blood siblings, let's be clear about that, blood, you're not going to be fucking because step siblings are obviously fair game. They don't
Right.
give a fuck about a step sibling. Fuck your marriage.
I mean,
Um,
I remember the popular group when I was in middle school did
mhm.
that. There were
Yeah, right.
like
They all slept with each other,
four boys and
or
four
not
girls. They
slept,
weren't
but
sleeping with each
they
other.
dated
They
each other.
dated each other.
Yes, I was gonna say for me, it wasn't even like I feel like my high school was not this sexually active. And I will say
No.
there was a bunch of people who had sex in my high school, but just like not to the point where I'm like, okay, this person is only popular because they fuck around.
Right.
No, no. I would never hear about that. I would
It's
hear
so
like,
weird.
okay, they were sucking dick behind the bleachers. I wonder if they know people saw them sucking dick behind the bleachers.
Right?
Like that's not something you want people to know that you do.
No. Um, this
Oh
fucking
my
movie.
gosh.
So we now we're at Nick's house. It's
Mm,
big, it's beautiful, it's empty. His parents are both at work, hard at
they
work.
don't
They
love
do
him.
not love him. They love him slightly more than Jimmy's parents, or they're richer because instead of
I was
ordering
gonna
a
say,
medium
yeah.
pepperoni, his dad's like, "Why don't you take my credit card and take a couple of your friends out to?" He's named some
Rich
restaurant that
restaurant.
sounds expensive,
Expensive restaurant.
but he doesn't do that. Instead, he goes and hops on his email where we see most of it's porn. And I did take note that one of the emails was from Skirt Cams, subject Latina upskirt.
Wow. This is some
So
creepy shit.
we
He
get kind
wants,
of,
yeah.
it's implied that this kid's got a porn addiction.
Mm-hmm. Does isn't he drinking?
He probably,
I feel like he's drinking a beer, but I feel like there's just so much casual, like, teen sex and drug and drinking use in
yeah.
this film. It's a little hard. Like, the images are just a little hard to pin to one character. But, yeah, so I feel like that's how we know Nick is just like, that's what he's fueled by, like, is sex and the conquest of getting, like, the instant gratification of
Hmm.
sex, because he's just so used to having on demand sexual content. Like, this is the rise of on demand pornography is the point here. um
Well, and it's that. I think it's also the neglect and not to like Nick is really
yeah,
just gross. Like
right, it's very, he's
like
very
he's
neglected,
just
yeah.
gross, but it's like it's very clear like I don't know. It's the thrill of the conquest and it's
Hmm.
probably to some degree for him it's like I can make people like I can be wanted
Yeah, right.
and then I can throw it away.
Hmm.
Because like I don't need you to want me, I don't need you to love me. I'm going to get you to, and then I'm going to throw it away.
Hmm.
We see that particularly with Hannah because she's not just sucking dick behind the bleachers.
No, Hannah's actually, like, not letting him sweet talk her to an
Yeah,
extent. Like, her the parenting that she received for 14 years of her life is holding strong at this point of the film. It's holding strong. Cuz she's not falling for it. She's like, I've got a loving father at home, okay? Like,
right.
my daddy issues are not that high. Still got
I
some.
don't know, but she does. She does fall for it. I mean,
She
she
falls
doesn't
for it
fuck him, but she
eventually.
blows him.
She
It
blows
takes like
him, but
two dates.
I
It
was
takes
going to
like two
say it
dates, and it
takes
doesn't
two
even take
dates.
2 dates. On their first date, they go out to a party,
Mhm.
and then and I love. Okay, so to
It's
backtrack real
just
quick,
one date. Yeah.
Hannah's mom finds out that Hannah is about to go on her first date from Dawn's mom, who is like
Yeah.
excited about it and like
Yeah, she's like, if
is
you want
like,
her to
well,
be
don't you want her to be
popular.
popular?
Yeah. Which
Um,
I don't know that parents should maybe
why these parents care that much about
care.
that?
Just as long as they have
Because
friends, like, I don't know.
spoiler alert, it's gonna come up again. But Hannah gets to go on this date before the date happens. We see Emma go to Teen Health
Yeah.
because she's got, or Dawn go to Teen Health because she's got like
A sore.
a sore in her
We did see
mouth.
her checking her mouth as well earlier in the film. I don't know, I think when she's getting ready for school one day, she, like, checks inside her mouth and she's worried and she keeps feeling inside her mouth with her tongue, and
Yeah.
she's got,
Oh,
yeah.
that's what she's doing in the beginning montage. I thought she was making a blowjob face.
No, she's, like, pulling
She's,
apart her cheek to, like,
but
look
they do
inside, and
because they
then,
show a shot of her doing the like tongue in the cheek, like
oh, you mean, yes, the tongue in the cheek,
I
yeah,
thought she
she's
was doing the
feeling
like,
for
do I look hot sucking dick?
sucking dick face. No, she's feeling for the sore. She's like, can I feel it with my tongue inside my mouth?
Oh
Well, yeah,
goodness.
honey. Yeah, honey bunny, you can. Yeah. It's
Um, but so Emma goes, and she might have a throat STD, and then
uh
I also made a note of the way that the mom said that Hannah's mom says shotgun after Nick and Hannah leave. Because she says to the dad, she's like, you know, what happened to the man who swore he'd be waiting for with a shotgun
with the
when the first
shotgun.
boy. But
Yeah.
she says shotguns. She's like shotgun. It's
Yeah,
very weird.
she was very much I mean, I the fact that she was really counting on uh her husband to, like, play hardball with
Mm-hmm.
a 17-year-old 16, 17-year-old boy. I don't know why like, any parent or mom would want that, like, I mean, I don't know.
That
Why,
whole trope.
right, I don't
Like,
get it.
can you imagine
Are you guys
someone,
okay?
a grown ass adult threatening your child with a gun?
Like, it's taking it to hostility that doesn't need to be taken there, like, and to be fair, this boy has nefarious intentions on their daughter.
Right.
But still, you shouldn't talk about breaking his kneecaps. He will get dealt with accordingly. You don't have to meet somebody at the doorstep with a shotgun. I do like how the mom went to go answer the door though, and the dad was like, "No, I've got this, honey."
Yeah.
Like he wanted to seem like this is my house. I'm the authority here. I need to assess you before I welcome you inside, young man. But Nick is smooth. He's a smooth little
He's smarmy.
slimy
He's smarmy,
slime
and I
ball.
hate him.
I don't
And then we get
trust
to,
kids who don't like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. That's probably my mom raising me, but I always used to call adults Mr. or Mrs. And the fact that like all the kids are just like, "Hey Trisha," or whoever.
yeah, it's weird.
It's weird. It's like you don't know this person.
But
Like
it's
this is an
again, it's this
adult.
very like affluent community.
Right. I think that's the big emphasis here. It's very much they've got money and
There's
even
major
the people
entitlement
who don't.
throughout all of these children.
There are, and you can kind of tell by the way they just they don't care about the consequences to things because they don't really have to think about the consequences in any other context, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, but have we mentioned that Hannah's a cello player?
We haven't. Hannah is a cello player. We actually get some scenes of her playing cello. It's that piece that's like da 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 da
Four
da.
Seasons, I think. But I think it's Four Seasons. But yes, I was literally when it opened and ended the film that way. I'm like, this film really does take this like subject matter really seriously, and you can tell by the
Yeah.
you can tell by little choices like that. Like they are really going hard in the paint in this in the production of this film. Like, but yeah, she's
Um.
a that I feel like that's supposed to make her seem a lot more of a good girl. She's always carrying around this big ass cello in a room,
Yep.
just in a
She's a
room.
straight A student.
Yeah,
She's a cello player. According to her dad, she practices like 90 hours a week, which is a lot of
which is a
cello.
lot of
I think
cello.
he's being hyperbolic, but still.
I think so, because like that's
And then we get to this fucking party.
this
Have you?
party's.
I have
I've
never
never
been
ever
to a
been to a
party like
party like
this.
this. No,
There's so
no.
much booze. There's like joints everywhere. Like
There's
everywhere.
just like
There's
people
just
having
like
sex half dressed. There's kids with like their shirts off and girls with no pants. Like
Emma goes into a room with a guy and another girl to go have a three-way.
literal like just
Grace from
automatically.
Secret Life is making out with Brad now.
There's like first of all, I just find that this is like parties in film and TV are either like the lame they either look like this is the fakest shit and nobody's got anything in their cups and people are pretending to talk to each other and dance like sometimes like Degrassi parties kind of look
Right.
like that
Or
like in
they
the later
go
seasons
so
or they
hard.
balls to the wall. And I think in this instance we had multiple ball sacks on the wall because like this like these are supposed to be like not even like this is not just a senior party. This is not like a senior like these kids this could be anywhere from 14 years old to early mid 20s. Like these kids look like this is some raunchy shit.
Right. Yeah.
This is some raunchy ass
Yeah.
shit. Never
Um
in my life.
and Alex or Tommy, whatever his name is, he shows up to rescue Hannah. So
Yeah.
again, they're really setting you up not to like Alex Tommy.
Yeah, he's kind of he is white knighting it is a good
But
assessment of his
he's
early character.
he's gonna be
He
okay.
cleans up his act. He's important.
But she's like, no, I want to be here. And Nick is like, so Alex Tommy leaves, and Nick is like, it's too crowded here. Let's go somewhere else, and takes him to his massive McMansion.
Right, he's
Um,
like it's too no, he says it's too loud here. Want to go like
Too loud. Yeah.
girl, like young man, it's as opposed to what? You knew we were going to a party. I feel like
Right. You
she
know how
fell
these
for that
parties
shit.
go. She's never been. Yeah, no, he's laying it on so thick. They go to his house. Oh, and what's that? He's got a hot tub and no
With
parents home.
suits provided.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Like, it happened in like an episode of Dawson's Creek once. Apparently, rich
Yeah,
people
rich
at pools just
people just
have a
stock
bunch of
bathing
suits.
suits.
And she's so funny. I guess maybe it's that she's cold, but like she comes out
Yeah.
all bundled up in this towel, so you kind of expect that
Cold
she's
or
going to be in like a
modest. Right.
bikini.
Right. I was thinking, yes,
And that's the thing,
yes.
is it looks like it's modesty, but then I'm like, it's got to be
It's
cold. It has to be
no, it
cold because
has
she's
to be that
all
she's
wrapped
cold.
up
Yeah, and she's got
for a
on
one
like a
piece.
speedo. It's like one of those like not even. It looks like a
Speedo brand, like
competition.
one piece. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that you wear in swim class or to compete on a swim team. Like it's not sexy. The most sexy part is the racerback.
Right.
That's to be aerodynamic, bitch. That's not to be sexy.
But she also, okay, so she's already like, no, she falls for this shit hook, line, and sinker from the get.
Oh my
She
gosh, she's
goes to
got
his
her.
house, and then he's all like, I
Got
don't even
it.
want to have sex with you. Like, we're not going to kiss tonight, even. I really like you. And he says that, and immediately she's like,
Reverse psychology
playfully
on that
forcing
bitch.
kisses on him.
Yeah.
She's an idiot. It's okay. She's
It's
14. It's not her
fine.
fault.
It's not her
This is why
fault.
she shouldn't be dating a boy this old.
He's been on like several walks around the block, whereas she is barely off of her
He
doorstep.
gave the whole block syphilis.
He gave the
Spoiler
whole
alert.
block syphilis,
He gave
spoiler
the
alert.
whole township.
Like he started an epidemic in his community of syphilis. The largest outbreak in a community of this kind, I think, based their size, either kind or size, which is fucking astounding. But yeah, he's got the moves and literally I feel so bad for her.
And she falls for it, and he takes him home. He takes her home. They've only kissed. She like runs upstairs all giddy, hops
Yeah.
on AIM, except it's called Teen Playa with an asterisk at
With
the
an
end.
asterisk at the end.
Which, like, if
Playa.
that had been what we called AIM, my mother wouldn't have had me on AIM. She would have
Fair.
been like, "No, you can't be
I'm
on
not
Teen
team
Playa.
player. You cannot be on team player. No, you may not, Caroline.
You go play Neopets, bitch."
I had to, I had to use my sister's aim to log on because my mom did not let me have one, and it was certainly not. I like that if any sort of history came up, like yeah, team
AIM.
player. What the fuck is team player? Amos?
It's so weird. It's such a weird choice. But they're on Team
Yeah,
Playa, and she's
and
like,
the
"Oh my god, it was
screamings.
amazing."
Yeah,
And then we see Becca and Hannah at church the next day, and we notably don't see Dawn. Dawn's family doesn't go to church because
Dawn's
her mom's a
family, right?
hoe.
Yeah, they give us a pan of the entire congregation just so you know that Dawn and her peoples are not there.
And then Becca's a cunt.
Becca's
Like,
such a cunt. She and I think that she play I actually really like the way they wrote her character because you
mm-hmm,
can tell like her saying like, "Yeah, it's fine if you yeah, like I don't care that you are dealing with him now," basically. She's like, "I could care, but then he'd just laugh in my face, so I just brush it off or go with it." And it's like the fact that she's so vulnerable to say shit like that and
mm-hmm.
then in the next sentence she's like, oh, you know, he could really like you, or you could just be trying to get into your pants. Like, bitch, you playing some
Right.
real serious mind
Because
Jedi
she
shit.
doesn't care that he's gonna fuck Hannah
No,
until it
but
turns out
right.
he might like Hannah.
Like her,
And I
right.
feel like from there she starts kind of manipulating Hannah into like, no, you should totally go for it. Like, everybody's doing it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because she knows that either Nick is just trying to fuck Hannah
Mm-hmm.
and he'll get that and be done with it and she'll feel good about herself again. Becca will.
Right. Right. She'll feel
Or
confirmed. Right.
or if Nick is actually genuinely into Hannah and she gets Hannah to turn into a hoe,
He won't like her
he
anymore.
won't
If
like
that,
her anymore.
because like that might be her theory. Like, okay, she's not having sex. Maybe that's what he likes about her. And
Right.
if she starts having sex, he'll just see her like every other girl and be done anyway. So either way, she wins. It's yeah, it's very much like a calculated, but it's very on the spot calculated because she doesn't have this information prior to this conversation. So she's just like, oh, I mean, it could just be a strategy to get into your pants. It's like I mean, damn.
She's like surprisingly well developed, like
She
as a character.
is. She is very well developed. They do a good job with like the character development of these three. I'm not just Hannah, because obviously Hannah's our main character, but they do a really good job at developing Dawn and Becca to the point where
Yeah.
it's just like we feel for like at this point in the film, I'm like, okay, but you know you're going through it over here. You out here having no glove love, okay? Like you
Right? Right?
I know
Jesus
you
did
heard.
not die for these sins.
They really did not.
Do you remember on Secret Life when she lost her virginity and then her dad died?
My dad died a horrible death because I had
I had
incredible sex.
God, that show
Like,
was
that was so
wild.
bad. I didn't even finish that fucking show. I jumped
Me
ship it
either.
like
Me either. And then
before
I
the
tried to
last
rewatch
season.
it when I was like
Oh,
27,
it's
and
so
I was like, it's so
so
bad, and
bad. I feel like
everybody
that's
sucks. And I really like
everybody.
Shailene Woodley. She seems to actually be a
Mhm.
delight.
Yeah, I like
But
her
when
too.
she cries, she sounds like a fucking chipmunk. And I hate it.
She
It's
cries
not
a lot
okay.
in this show.
And she
Also,
cries a
she cries.
lot in
Not
Secret
even
Life.
Molly Ringwald could save this show. And her character was actually her character and the dad's character were actually really terrible people.
Right?
The
And
whole
I
show
love
was
it's got
full of
the
terrible
amazing
people.
Josie Bissett, who I adore,
Mhm.
as Grace's mom. But like, it's just
Mhm.
it's all, and then the weird,
It's
like,
all.
not goth sister, but
Yeah,
whatever.
I was
Ashley,
gonna
it's
say,
so weird.
yeah. I like.
Guys,
Yeah.
don't
It's
watch Secret Life, but maybe watch
please
like 2 seasons,
maybe two
just because it's a
seasons.
dumpster fire and it's wild.
If you're watching it for nostalgia, I feel like that's your best bet. Now, if you're watching it with fresh eyes and you've somehow made it through this time period unscathed from the show, maybe you should just cut your losses. No, but it's
Right?
so bad. Like, the
It's so bad, but it
timeline's off.
does have Ben Boykovich's dad. Fuck Ben
Uh,
Boykovich, but I love
Ben
his dad.
Boykovich's dad is a treasure, and we do not deserve him.
He
As
is
well as
like
Adrian. I actually justice for Adrian because
justice
that
for
character was
Adrian.
fucked over multiple fucking times. They never.
Uh,
Oh my gosh, the show
but
hates that girl.
Ben Boykovich's dad was the only redeemable character in the fucking Sopranos. I loved him so much in that. He was
Okay.
my
Oh,
number
I
one.
did know he was in that.
Bobby
His, I
Bacala.
the
He
fact that he
deserves so much
sells
better.
doesn't he sell like sausages in the show?
Yeah, he's like the
He's the
sausage king
sausage
of.
king. And like I love him. Protect him. He's not protected though. We all know that.
But
The
so this is
bookworm.
just to say that the girl that plays Becca is kind of typecast as a
Very
weird
much.
Christian girl.
Like they don't really like honestly Grace her character from that show is very similar to Becca just in that the promiscuity is just not as high. Or
Right.
maybe it's high just with less partners.
Well, that would be the promiscuity part. I feel like the
Right. Oh,
promiscuity has
because
to
like
do with like the
right the
quantity more than
okay,
the,
you are right. I'll
you
stick
know.
with what yeah right more than the actual act of it multiple
But
times.
anyway, after church, we shoot back to school. Dawn has been called back to the nurse's office to meet with this lady from the State Department of Public Health because syphilis. Which
I
I
love
do just
this
want to
woman.
say,
I love
yeah, no,
this
my
woman.
notes for this said this chick is so good. Dr. Sally would be proud.
Uh huh.
I
Yes.
like they also had she has like similar hair.
Mhm.
She could
Right,
be
like the
Dr. Sally
very
for
like no
Halloween.
the very serious business health professional hair. The okay, like this scene was very iconic. The
Hmm.
part that I can't get over that I if I think about this film, this is probably the part other than hey guys, guess what? I have syphilis. The part where she's like asking her how many sexual partners she had and she says like and she starts this is great acting on Miriam's part but like the fact that she like looks away and she's like I'm counting.
Right.
I'm
She
like
asked.
oh my
Well,
god.
so movie Dr. Sally is like, how many? I need to know how many boys you had sex with, and she's like, what do you
Yeah.
mean by sex? And she's like, oral sex too,
Mhm.
bitch. Give it up.
Right, like give me the
You're
goods,
about
give me
to
the deets.
learn about throat STDs, but you're gonna have to learn again too, apparently.
Yes.
Um,
Oh my gosh. The hard
and
way.
Emma Dawn gets really quiet, and the movie Dr. Sally is like, I'm not judging you. I just need to know.
Yeah, like a rough
And
estimate.
Dawn is like, I'm counting.
Yeah.
And then she
Oh
kind of
right,
changes
yeah.
course. She's like, I don't need an exact number. Ballpark's
Mhm.
fine. Like,
Yes.
because she's realizing what she's dealing with. She's thinking this
Yeah.
girl is 14. She's maybe had 3, 4, 5
Right.
partners, not 15, 20.
Right. She's like,
She
you've had
could have done a little bit
sex?
better with her surprise
Oh
face
yeah, no,
at that
literally,
reveal.
I was gonna like my note here is the look of concern. Like this is deep concern when she's like, "You had sex with 20 boys?"
It's concerning. She's
Like
14.
she seriously cannot hide the shooketh of the situation, but
And
like,
like,
damn.
have a slut face. I had a slut face.
That's
It's fine.
fine. We
But
used to
like, don't
talk
have it
about the
when you're
body
14.
count and everything. That used to be way more like of a I hope the kids aren't still doing that, talking about like what's your body count as
Oh, you
like
know they
AS.
are.
I that sucks to
Well,
still
and
be, but
here's the
like
thing
it
is like I
hopefully more
don't think
sex
we should shame
positivity.
people for their body count. Like whatever.
Right, the body
Ideally you're
count
being safe and like
shame
whatever.
should die.
And 15 to 20 is a concerning body count for a
A
14-year-old.
14-year-old, yeah, that's right. For the age, that is a concerning amount because
Mm-hmm.
and I just don't think that that young woman was prepared to hear such an answer like you said,
No, because you
and she
don't,
couldn't
especially this
contain
is
her
a
shock.
rich community. These are good kids.
Mhm. But like I think isn't this the point where they ride past her window?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my issue with this whole film, and I think that this is obviously something a lot of films do. They don't have money to buy royalties, so they're not or buy use of the song. So they're not going to buy use of any actual songs that we know. So they're going to come up with fake songs. There's companies that sell really cheap fake ass songs. But
Right.
this, ooh, take it off, take it all off. Thumping, smack your ass. I smack her ass. You smack my
It's
ass.
so
Music is
bad. It's what
so
was playing in the
bad.
beginning too, right? Like they use the
Yes,
same
I
song,
think
and it's so
so.
bad. It's like, well, it's funny too because later on, Becca's mom blames rap music, and
She
normally I hate that, but also I do kind of blame this rap music.
this album in
This album,
particular is
Kingpin Pimp Kid
King
Elric,
King King Kid
Kid
Albert.
Ping
Let's say that
Pimprick.
3 times fast.
No,
No, I don't want to. It like it's not
yeah, that is bad for the kids.
this
That
is
is bad
not
for
positive
everybody.
lyrics, right? Like I'm losing, like I hate when people say
Well,
about losing brain cells, but I'm losing something listening to this.
Well, and like honestly, even of like that genre of rap that's more like objectifying women, misogynistic lyrics. And I'm not even
Mhm.
throwing shade on rap because every
Mm,
fucking genre has it, but we're talking about rap because the uppity
no,
white moms want to blame the rap.
they want to blame the rap,
And
but
like any
yeah.
other music, I think that that genre is kind of the least impressive, but this is so much worse.
It's so, and I really think that that's my thing with this film is that like it seeks to, and I mean I think that's the goal, so I can't be mad that that's what happened, but like they're like we just want to create a very hyper like realistic world. Like this is happening in clusters in schools, not to the entire school. So like let's just make this as like dramatized as possible. We're going to get the most raunchy sounding music and these kids are blasting it loud from their convertibles. They don't give a fuck. Like we need to up the ante
And
cuz it's just
it's
like I
so
wasn't allowed to listen to Jay-Z's first album, but that's because like he I feel like he had a lot of lyrics where it was just like nasty, gushy, descriptive terms like that. Sure.
right,
Okay. You
right.
could, but I just don't know that it was this bad.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I'm sorry. It wasn't. Musically, it wasn't. Lyrically, it wasn't. Is it as good as Jay Z's stuff that is not about that? No.
No,
Is
no.
it better than take it all off, something to shake your ass, suck my cock, or whatever it
Oh my
is?
gosh.
It's not
Oh my
good. It's so
gosh. It's
not
so
good.
not good. And I think they
Hannah's mom
really,
is worried. Hannah's mom is very worried.
hmm I don't even know you anymore. No, I don't think
Um,
she says that at this
she
point.
says she doesn't say that yet. She's just like, be careful. He's older than you, and
Yeah.
you're young and dumb because you're
But
young.
isn't this the conversation when she's like, I've been careful my whole life and I've never got a date? Young
Yes.
lady, you've just become dateable within the
Right.
last 2 years.
Right.
I would
Right.
say, as a future parent, I'm not going to be like, if my 12-year-old wants to go on a little date, I'm not going to stress about that. That's perfectly normal, natural. But like, don't tell me you've been held down for 2 years of your life and
Right,
you feel
right.
like you can't get a date. Well, maybe that's not what's important right now.
No, and it's not. It's not.
I'd
And
be
then we get
like,
to
girl,
like,
practice your cello.
and then we get like another shot of teen health, and they're talking
Hmm.
about this syphilis outbreak, and Nick is probably patient zero.
They got the whiteboard. Do they have the whiteboard or do
They
they
have a
just have the
whiteboard,
they have the white I love a whiteboard moment, but she's like, "No, we've got to break this shit down. Bring out the whiteboard."
right?
And she's like, "You got to assume that, there's multiple people. Oh, and right, they're zeroing in on patient 0
This
and they
movie
don't think
loves a
it's
glue
Dawn."
filter. Loves a glue filter.
Unashamed
No,
to
they think
use
it's
it,
probably Nick.
because yeah, the resident nurse is like giving information to this visiting regional from the Department of Health, this nurse. And so she's like, yeah, he's got his fingers in all the pies, essentially. um so they
Warm
so
apple
they
pies.
oh yeah, oh gosh, that it's like I'll never see apple pie the same again.
No,
um
McDonald's are homemade.
Both.
No, that's one of the lines in American Pie that stuck with
Oh
me.
right.
Is after the friend describes it
Oh
like warm
right,
apple
he's like,
pie, he's like, McDonald's are homemade. God, what a
I
time the early aughts were.
I have to still think that a film that I saw in the dawn of my life was just like the core of it was about a young man fucking an apple pie.
I watched that like with my family,
Mm-hmm.
with my brothers and my mom and my dad
Mm-hmm.
on
Yeah.
movie night.
Yeah.
We saw Dude Where's My Car with my really uptight grandma.
We
So to get back to the plot, we found
yes.
out Nick is patient zero, and now we are on he and Hannah's second date, which is also at his house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really gross. He's laying it on so thick. They start messing around.
Oh
She
wait.
mentions that she's yes.
Oh sorry. I don't know. There's
No,
not a
you're
big
fine.
detail, but I think this is just further about his like manipulation. So they go to the movie theater. And
Right.
then he's like, "Oh, I don't. They're not playing anything or something." Like
I've
he's like,
already
"They're.
seen everything.
I've already
Yeah.
seen everything." And he's like, "I've got a much better selection at my house. Do you want to go?" So he's always finding, because like it's just notably that the theater's full of kids. Like there's full of people
Yeah.
there. It's
I
a
mean,
busy night.
I don't know. I wasn't as fucking rowdy as these kids. I sucked my first dick in a movie theater.
Well,
Like,
you work with what you have available.
right, there weren't a lot of places to go. You went
Some
to the
kids don't
movies, it
have
was
empty
dark.
houses that are well
See, and my
stocked with
boyfriend and
bathing
I were
suits and
fucking
hot tubs.
smarter than you guys because we would have dates on like Tuesday night.
Ah, so you get some
Nobody's at the
empty
movie
ass
theater Tuesday
theater.
night. So you
Yes,
go to
that
the
is
movies and
true.
you suck dick and like whatever.
Fair. I fooled around and I haven't sucked
And
dick,
it
but
doesn't
I've
go any further than that.
see that's the thing. I've had, well, not to get too raunchy. This is not after dark, but I've definitely had fun finger banging times. And mom, I hope you never listen to this. You're not a
You
Patreon
know,
subscriber
it's
anymore. But I'm an adult,
Avis,
damn it.
you're almost 30.
I know, but I
If
don't
your
want my
mom doesn't
mom
know
to know
you,
I have
like,
sex. I don't want
okay,
her
but
to
she
know.
knows, baby, she knows.
I don't want her. Yeah,
Also,
no, it's
not
fine.
to get too raunchy on this podcast that's about a movie where 14-year-olds are having fucking three ways.
Like live scale orgies, literally
It's
people
so
watching them
weird.
fuck. It's
It's
it's like
so
Pornhub in this bitch. Yeah.
but so it's Nick and Hannah's first date. They go, or second date, they go back to Nick's house to watch a movie. They're fooling around and she's like, this was so gross to me. And it was like
Hmm.
such a red flag that I was so mad that she didn't see it, but I get it. She's 14 and she's dumb.
Yeah.
But she's like, is it okay that I've never done anything with anybody? And his response is,
Yes.
I
I
love
love
being
being
first.
first. Yeah. Creepy.
And they start fooling around, and then she doesn't want to. And he's like, I mean, I really like you, but like, it's so manipulative, and it's not even like good manipulation.
He just
She ends
figured it
up
was like like a sealed deal too, because like he didn't even have her pants off yet, and he's already
right,
pulling the peen out. Like, you're just
right.
so confident. You didn't do any work. You did no work. You didn't even get her pants off. Like, and
You
you're
didn't
just
even get her
like,
top
you
off.
didn't even get her top off. Yeah. It's just like he
Well,
was so
that's the
sure of
thing is he's
himself.
had sex with so many girls that like he's not even bothering with the bases or anything. It's,
Yeah.
like the first time you go to second base, it's a big deal,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
you're
And it
happy to just chill in first and second for a while,
right. Like let's feel these out and
right? Boobs. I've never gotten to
mm,
touch these before, or I've
mhm.
never gotten to touch ones that weren't mine before. Like,
Mhm. Yes, indeed. These look different.
but no, he does not even stop at second.
Oh my gosh, Nick's fucking slime ball. Yeah, but she's like, hold on there, lassie. And I mean, the emotional coercion is just so fucking gross. Um, when she is really just like, no, but he says like, oh, we don't need to have sex. We can play Scrabble and blah 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 and this that, like kind of how earlier he was like, yeah, you could do your English homework. Like he's trying to make things that aren't sex seem like juvenile.
And
Like
it's very like we can
it's
either have sex or we can, play Candyland. There's
right.
no in between.
There's no in between, honey. This is a grown up
We
brag.
can't
Like
just like do
what?
some heavy petting. We can't actually watch a movie. We can play
Right.
Scrabble. Like fuck this dude. I fucking
Fuck
hate him.
this
I
dude.
fucking
These are
hate him.
dumb fucking choices. Yeah.
And then she's talking to Becca, who is delightfully evil. And Becca's like, it's so weird too. She like messages Becca and she's like, I had a fantasy
Hmm.
and whatever. And then Becca's like, it's so much better when you do it for real. Come over tonight. I'm babysitting and Nick might stop by.
Like so for me the most notable part of the scene when she's with Nick is that she's at like his she unbuckles his belt and she's sitting at the eye level of his, in the blowjob position. She is sitting down. She's not on her knees. They don't go quite that far, but she's sitting down at with his belt buckle and eye level. But then they have to the next scene, they have to say that she just blew him. They have to
Yeah.
make that clear. Like, I just blew you. And it doesn't actually even sound like this is something that Hannah would say. Maybe that's just me, but when she's like, I just blew you, the way she says it, it doesn't sound like they just needed to make it clear that she only gave him a blowjob, but they don't want to say blowjob for some reason. So they make her
Right. They say
say, I just
oral
blew
a
you.
lot.
They do say oral a
No, I
lot.
think she says went down on you.
Oh, does she say went down? That okay, so blow is taken. Okay, that would make more sense. Thank you. But yeah,
Um,
I just think it's funny that they had to really clarify that. They're like, it was just oral.
and then the babysitting, and they all have these
Mm,
really bad pigtails and do that weird cheer for Becca's little brother, and then are like, "Are
yeah,
we
bring it
hot?"
on esque. Yeah, that was nasty. That was
It was
nasty. Poor
weird. It
baby.
was
Poor
really
baby.
fucking weird. And then
Yeah.
Dawn hits us with a gem, which I almost kind of think we should pop the audio of it in, but we don't have to. I know you're the one who has to do that.
I think it should be fine. It's Tubi. They're not going to come for us.
Oh, it's not even about the coming for us. It's about the work.
No, it's no work.
Word.
But
Um,
yeah. Yeah,
we'll maybe
guess what,
cut that
guys? I
part.
have syphilis. Yeah. No, yeah, I shall sashimi. It's oh my gosh, but
It's
so
so
that's the
like,
iconic line is hey guy like the casualness. Hey guys, guess what? I have syphilis. But the resulting conversation is also hella gold. Like
mm-hmm,
Hannah saying, "Do people still get that?"
right? Well, because you do like syphilis is an old timey STD.
She's like, it sounds so old. And then Becca saying, people like us don't get syphilis. And Dawn's like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's like, well, you've done some skeezy guys. and
I know, and
and
then
Dawn's like, I've done the same guys as you. Like, oh my gosh. Y'all
right.
see there's a problem, right? 911 Law and Order SVU music. Dun dun. I don't know. It's so bad. It's so bad.
It's so bad. It's so bad. And so then she finds out that Nick's coming over
Mhm.
and she wants to tell Nick about the syphilis, and Grace just like, or not Grace, Becca slut shames her instead.
Yeah. Dawn's like, I need to leave because the cat's out of the bag and the vibes are off. And Becca's like, bye, bitch. And she's like, and obviously Hannah's staying because she's sprung.
Right.
Like, I don't know. But then okay, can we talk about the fact that they were swapping girlfriends? But like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, so they,
what
yeah,
the
they go.
fuck? They put some porn.
First off, though, they're sitting watching cartoons with the little brother, and Becca is just
Yeah,
like shitting on Dawn, outing her for having an STD, talking about what a slut she is, which, like, girl,
yeah.
look in a mirror. Look in a mirror. Your dad
You
died
didn't
a horrible death
because
because you
you had
had
an
really mediocre
incredible.
sex at a cheap motel with no
Really
glove.
mean with no
Why couldn't they
glove.
say condom?
Oh
Um,
my gosh. They didn't they
did
just
anybody actually call it a glove, like, unironically?
I don't think so. I don't really think that that was a serious
Becca.
term. Yeah. Maybe just her. She never got that memo. Um
But yeah,
yeah,
they're like, let's
they're
go upstairs
neglecting
and
this
watch
child.
porn in Becca's room.
This child can be no more than I'm being generous to say 5. He looks like 3. He looks like
Yeah,
3
no,
or
he's just a
4.
little guy.
They literally sit him in front of a little tiny box TV that you used to keep in your like kitchen or wherever it could carry around the
Mm-hmm.
house, and they sit him in
Give
front
him
of
a
that with
plate of
some damn
snacks
crackers and cheese
and
and
like
an
Looney
assortment
Tunes.
loony. Yeah, like they're just like exist and do not die because we're going upstairs for an orgy. We've got a porn DVD, and I'm like, I'm
And they put
consider
in the porn, and then like nobody consults Hannah. Nick's just
no.
like, Brad's gonna be good to you.
She's like, I don't want Brad. What the fuck? Like the record scratch. Like Hannah's like, I did not sign up for this,
And he's like,
and
well, just do it for me.
I thought
It's
it was
so
enough to
weird.
do it with
It's
you. I
so
love that line
weird,
though.
right?
Like, cause like
Like,
to stand up for yourself, cause that shit is bunk. And the
and
fact that like
here's
no one talked to her about it, no one was like, "Hey, this is what we do." Like they're just expecting her to just be down for
right.
whatever, which is so fucking weird.
It's so well, and it's so weird to me again, considering their ages. Of like,
Mhm.
nothing wrong with a little threesome, foursome, whatever action.
No,
That can be really fun.
right. But communication is kind of
Most importantly,
essential in these
communication. But
situations.
also, I'm sorry, you should not be doing that at 14 years old. You
No,
should be an adult before you are making the choice to have sex with more than one person at a time.
right.
You
It
should
right.
probably be in a closer to an adult before you're making the choice to have
To
sex to
have
begin with. But
ideally,
whatever,
but you
there's
know,
a lot of pressures. We get it.
it right. But I just
But
think
you should not be
it's
having threesomes at
at
14.
14.
At
It's
14?
they really want to and I know it's they're wanting to shock us, but I know that this is also something that is very much this occurs like and I think one of my early notes was like this was very raunchy by the 2000 standards because like we shit like this was just not talked about, but like you best believe like the 2000s did not have shit on this current culture for these kids like in terms of like the debauchery.
But I thought, no, because, like, don't they not leave their houses? They're just home on TikTok because we don't have third places and gas is too expensive and you can't buy, like, a beater car anymore. Maybe you can in other places, but,
Uber.
like, in Vermont, a beater car is going to cost you at least 10 grand.
Oh damn. No, I honestly around here, I mean, I won't speak for where I currently live because I'm not in touch with the youth, but where I grew up, it's a smaller town in the suburbs of a city and it's very much like either you go to the city during the weekends or you go to a friend's house and you drink, smoke, have bonfires, things of that nature and
But do you
those
know that the kids are doing that now? Or do you know
I
that
do.
that's what you did when, okay.
Yeah, kids are still
Because you're
doing things
seeing,
like that, but
I
it's
feel like you see
different.
a lot less of that. You know, kids don't just go hang out at a park anymore because
No, they do
you
stuff
can't
like hotel
go.
parties and stuff now. That's more common versus like cuz like kids like to do stuff to like look better. Like it's a lot more about what you can be said, oh, I did this weekend, oh, my mom took us here, like we went, like we did this
It's
trip, like
such, yeah, no, I'm
it's
sorry.
a
We
little different.
need we need like places for teenagers to just be teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me really mad that like you can't just go hang out at the park with your friends. You can't chill in a parking lot. You can't go to the fucking mall. Like
Yeah.
I can
The
because I'm
mall
an
is
adult.
actually pretty popular again. The mall's
Is
pretty
it? I
popular.
know
I think
like
it's 2000s
for a
culture coming
while
back.
malls had like curfews. Like you couldn't
Oh
be
yes, there,
under like
yeah, you can't.
17 and unaccompanied after like 5 p.m.
Yes, one
And
of
I
the
get
larger
that.
malls near us do. I think at the larger
Having
mall near us it's 7 on the
having been a
weekends.
mall teenager, like we were
Mhm.
annoying. I
Mhm.
get it. But also like we were relatively harmless and we were safe there. It was like
Yeah.
a safe place for us to be.
Yeah.
You can't really go get finger blasted at the mall. I mean, you can, but you gotta
You got to
like,
be really really crafty to do that kind of shit.
and ballsy.
Yeah, and ballsy. It's I feel like I was very surprised the last couple times I've been to malls, like not just the larger mall near my mom's house, but also there's several smaller malls around here, and surprised that there were youths chilling around the air. But like it seems to be something that they're gravitating towards again, to want to just like you said, like not have to pay to be somewhere. You're just allowed to exist there, and it's a relatively safe environment. I've seen a lot more kids at like the libraries around me, which
Hmm.
is really cool because I think that those places definitely died. Like you were hard
And
pressed to
they're,
find anybody hanging out at the mall in 2012,
and like
14,
not to be all
you know.
tinfoil hatty, but the omnipresent, ever powerful they are trying to kill those spaces for a reason. Like,
Right.
guys,
Yeah.
support those spaces in your community. It's important.
Absolutely. Support your local library, support your local mall, even though they are large, giant corporations, but they just don't make much money anymore.
Right.
Um, Amazon, obviously, just a lot of you can get a lot of those things much faster than going to your local mall and like paying
Hmm.
for the gas and everything. So people just
Well, and if you're a fat lady, you can't buy clothes at the mall most of the time unless you want to go to Torrid because
mm,
nowhere carries above a 14 in store,
right.
which is really frustrating.
Yeah.
Um, but like, yeah, no, malls in general, we need to,
Yeah.
all
Even
of
like
it.
the
Like,
cyber cafe they have, like
our kids
it's
need places to be.
yeah, like
We need
it's
places to be. As somebody who doesn't drink a
right. I was
lot,
gonna say I would love places to be that aren't bars.
like I said, I loved the coffee shops in Amsterdam for exactly
Mhm.
that reason.
Mhm.
Duck out of the bad weather, sit, smoke a joint, whatever, meet somebody.
Mhm.
We have really cool conversations with random, you know, locals and other travelers. Like
Yeah.
seeing like some dude who clearly like popped up in on his lunch break to
Yeah.
smoke a joint, and like
Right.
it's cool.
Yeah.
Um, these kids don't have that though, so instead they're having babysitting foursomes
Yeah. It's
because Hannah leaves and Becca's like, okay, I guess you guys are both gonna do me.
Eiffel Tower time. Yeah, that's what we leave Becca on. And she looks so enthusiastic, and I'm so sad for her. I'm so
Yeah,
sad for this girl.
and Hannah ends up at Alex Tommy's house, where at this point he's very white knighty. I still hated him at this point.
Mhm.
He really came around for me. Same with Hannah's mom. She's got good people in her corner. Um, and she's all sad and skips school. And then Nick gets called into teen health. He is so
I
gross in
hate
this.
Nick. I hate him
His
so
whole
much.
thing is gross in this, but like, Lay's like, we think you have syphilis because he won't go back in the office. So she calls him out in front of everybody in the lobby, and he's like, all
Right.
right, give me my shot.
Right.
Um, and then she's like, no, we need you to answer some questions and whatever. And he's like, my advice is you better stick them all because I
Cuz I
probably
probably
did.
did. Yeah.
Is so
Fucking
gross. This guy is so
nasty.
gross. And like, no STI is a good STI, but syphilis,
Syphilis can
left untreated,
literally
will eat
boil
your
your
brain.
brain. I was thinking that same. I literally that was my note. I said, "Young man, your brain will liquefy in your skull if you don't get the shot. Also, stop talking to adults like that." I had so much problem with the respect of adults in this fucking film. I was like, y'all
Yeah.
need to unpuff your chest. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, the fact that he was so comfortable to be like, it also, I think they did this scene, which I like that they did it because, like, the stigma of Dawn being outed of having syphilis is like ruins her reputation. If she dresses like how she was dressing before, now she's a slut. I mean, she's a slut anyway, but she noticeably changes in her modesty. Like she starts wearing more hoodies and she's covering
Hmm.
up her collarbones and her midriff. She's not wearing the same really, provocative outfit she was wearing before. But fucking Nick doesn't care that a whole room full of his peers know that he has syphilis. It's a badge of honor because he's been fucking.
Right, right. If he finds out he's patient zero, he's gonna be like, "Fuck yeah."
Yeah, right. Like, don't tell him that. He's gonna think he needs a fucking trophy or something. Little bitch. It's just, it's
Well,
like, the largest syphilis cluster in a community like this. They are so concerned. They are so concerned.
again, syphilis is nothing to fuck with.
It's
And
really
Becca's mom,
not.
I guess, like works at the school or is involved on the school board or whatever, so she knows.
Yes.
And she not only knows, she knows that Becca has been asked to get tested because they
Hmm.
hand out all these, like they have all of these kids get letters in homeroom.
Well,
Um,
yeah, that I was like, okay, so they must have, somebody must have talked and made, if it wasn't, because I know they say Dawn obviously gives those names, but it must have been other people because it wouldn't have been named by Dawn, but they would have had to connect her through Dawn's sexual partners.
right.
So
And there's
she's
like
on the
all of these
list.
people walking around being like, I can't believe somebody gave my name and da 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 da.
Yeah, pissed off that they're on the list and they've got a letter and they have to get tested. They have to get a blood test to see if they have syphilis. Which, spoiler alert, like I feel like out of the student body, like 97% of these kids have
It's a
fucking
lot of kids getting
syphilis.
these notes. We see like classes letting out, and like the majority of kids coming out have a note.
Right.
Um, and Brad is gross about his note and whatever. So Becca's mom knows and might make Becca change to a Christian school.
Like the
And
way that her mom is aggressive with her and comes up and snatches her damn headphones off her head. And she's like, "Are
yeah,
you having sex?" She's like,
we
"Mother,
are a
none of
good
your
Christian
business."
home.
Right, like
I know
that
the way she calls her mom mother.
it was giving me like, I said flowers in the attic vibes, but I'm like, I don't know what other vibes I was getting. It wasn't good vibes though. It was like, why would
No.
this religious family, this has got to be the family that's like got the switch on deck and is ready to beat the ass of any kid in their family. Like they just seem so much more aggressive than the other families. Like the threat of physical violence in Becca's home is very strong.
Right.
I feel
No,
like
and
her
I
mom
thought
want to punch her
too,
in the face because like
the
for
casting
no
for her
reason.
mom I thought was really good. Like they don't necessarily look that much alike, except that they both have those very icy blue eyes that
Hmm.
suggest they're hiding something sinister.
Yeah.
Um, and so she blames fucking Dawn. She's like, it's
Dawn the
because Dawn
scapegoat.
has syphilis, and she gave my name to be a bitch.
And then her mom is so relieved. She's like, Dawn is so troubled.
It's because of the divorce, mom. It's such a weird, like, waspy scene.
Yeah, and it's like at this point I felt for Becca being like I wanted her mom to just be like, take a step back and be like, a sexually active teenager in my home, it's more likely
Right.
than I think. Like I don't know, she's just like,
Right.
it could never be my daughter. She just could never be out, but like your
Girl,
daughter's
it
the
is
one,
almost definitely your daughter.
your daughter
Well, and
is
like,
slanging, catching dick left and
well,
right.
and their solution is that they're going to send her to this Christian school, which is never confirmed to be a boarding school, I don't think, but sounds like it
Right.
could be.
I was gonna say, like
And
they
like,
make it seem like she could be going quote unquote away.
you know, where teens are having a lot of sex? Repressed
Religious,
ass
right?
Christian communities.
Yes, yes,
Particularly Christian, but any, like,
right, repressed.
repression
Yeah.
leads to, like, really weird sex, y'all.
Oh, totally. Oh, totally. I really think that that's a fair point. And when I'm like, you guys think that this is the solution, but she's probably gonna pick up a lot. Like, she's gonna. she's if she is not corrupted further, she is going to corrupt the shit out of that school.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
she's going to get there and realize no, that's not all they do is read the Bible. Some people are fucking like
Freaks.
fru-
Freaks. And
yeah.
like especially like when you wrap shame into sex, it
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
when I was in my early 20s, I knew this guy who had was still like an evangelical Christian.
Mhm.
Um but one of those very much like rules for thee, not for me, because his favorite thing to do was fuck virgins and corrupt them.
Oh gosh. I
And
just
like
find that
that comes
implication
from putting
gross.
this like emphasis and like on purity, and
Right.
like it's
Right.
creepy and it's gross, and like stop
It's
making sex
very
weird.
creepy. Please
Stop
stop
making
making
sex
sex
weird,
weird.
please.
Virginity is such a construct, and once I realized that it really doesn't mean anything, um like I stopped beating myself up about a lot of things, because I mean, of course you
Mm-hmm.
want your first time to be with somebody you care about, and you want it to be quote unquote special, of course, but I think that's a lot of what's built up for because it's not really the same for a guy. It's like that's not really the same sort of thing that's inundated into you. It's like your first
Right, they
time
don't
should
get
be
compared to
special.
used to like chewed gum.
They right, or like a hot dog getting thrown down a hallway. That I remember that was a whole
Mm-hmm.
that was a whole thing when I was in high school. But like it's very much like I felt less shameful about my first time because it wasn't with somebody that I really cared about. I was a casual friend of this guy, and it I was 19, so I was like, fuck it, I might as well. That was my point of view, because I had waited and I had been so like guarded about it for a lot of my teenage years and felt superior, like okay, I'm not having sex, I'm still pure and like all of those things that really didn't fucking mean anything. And not to say that I regret not having sex in high school, because I don't. I could not have dealt with that shit. Okay,
Right.
I did not need to add dick or pussy to that situation. But at the end of the day, like it really did nothing
But there's a
for my
difference
ultimate
between not
choices.
having sex in high school because you don't want to, and
Right.
not having sex in high school because you've been taught that sex is this shameful thing and that your purity matters, and like
I think it was a little of both. I had a lot of like mixed religious upbringing, but I did exclusively go to a religious school for primary years of my education. So I definitely had it like that. It was like it was something that I should keep to myself. It was something that I should nurture. And it was not, they didn't use the terminology flowers. That's not really the religious terminology, but more just like my virginhood was important. And
right.
like giving it away should only really be up to should be something that I'm considering when I'm leading into marriage. And I didn't really see my life that way, but it's more like hindsight is 2020, and I am happy that I didn't have sex in high school. But I think at the time it was more just a mix of like shame and fear around wanting to be sexual in general, you know.
Yeah.
So fun times. I was just completely the
Um.
opposite of these kids. I was just completely
Yeah.
the opposite, but same issues. You just have a different reaction to having similar fucking issues, you know?
Right. Right. Dawn's mom is actually kind of impressive with the
Mm-hmm.
syphilis outbreak. You know, she's very much like, Dawn is like, you're my mother. I wish you'd start acting like it. And her mom's like, okay, whoa, you know what? Yeah, I haven't been like, I've been the friend mom, and I've been the like dating around because I'm fucked up about my divorce mom, and I have
Mm-hmm.
2 kids who need me. Love that.
Yeah.
Then Hannah's got a mouth sore, and she goes and is like, test me for syphilis. I promise you, like, I should be on this list. Um,
She's been in denial about it for a while, so we're proud of her. We're proud
mhm.
because she really just didn't want to. And she was brushing her teeth overtime, OT. I'm like, you know what? You were sucking on some syphilis peen.
Right, right.
Brushing your teeth with some crust is not going to help. You need a shot, honey.
And we get this like, so then we've got Hannah's mom talking to her about it. They're upset because Hannah didn't tell them about the outbreak, and they know that Dawn has syphilis and whatever. And then
Mm-hmm.
we've got Becca getting her shot, and the nurse being like talking to her about it, like,
Also, wait.
shouldn't it mean something? Yes.
Sorry. I have to point out the scene in which before she comes to like the office to tell them I should be on this list, she's researching syphilis because she denied to her parents that she needed to be tested. She's like, I didn't get asked to be tested, so I don't need to be on the list, blah blah blah. And they're like, if you have syphilis, if there's something wrong, please tell us. And she says, no, there's nothing wrong, fuck you. But later that night she researches syphilis, and I don't know if you no, the scene
It
in
was giving
Breaking
Twilight
Dawn.
vibes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I was just like,
Um,
she was so disgusted that she went bright and early the next day. She was like, I need to be shot up. Please, just do it.
but then this fucking scene with Becca, and she's like, the nurse is like, don't you want like connection? And she's like, I'm the most popular girl in ninth grade.
And she says sex is like dancing. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like something we do with guys, like dancing. Like, girl, you broken.
Right.
Who broke
Right.
you? Was it Nick?
Her parents.
Was it your parents?
It was her repressive ass Christian parents. And then we've got,
Nick said, "Don't blame me for all that shit. I didn't do all that." Oh
right?
my gosh.
The girl was broken long before I got here. I just played with the pieces.
Right.
Oh my
Sure
god, I
fucking
hate Nick
did.
so much. That guy is like
He's the
diabolical
worst. He's the
and fucked
worst.
up.
He is.
Um, I like the scene with Emma and or Dawn and Hannah in the basement
Hmm.
getting drunk
I was
and
gonna say that's
like,
when they're getting drunk on wine coolers and
mm-hmm.
some semi-hard alcohol. I think there's liquor there. I think they do have liquor, but they are primarily drinking like those sugary wine coolers that they don't sell in those bottles anymore.
Can you even? I guess they still make wine coolers. How else are
I was
frat
gonna
boys gonna
say
get laid?
I think they make such like there's hard kombucha, there's hard seltzer,
Right.
there's like you can get mixed cocktails in cans now. So I mean, you've got a lot of options before your wine cooler. I mean, level up, guys. Hopefully nobody's still out there drinking Nikolai or
Yeah,
Vlad.
but none of them taste
Please.
like cheap melted down candy the way a wine cooler does. A wine
Yeah.
cooler is specifically for getting like 14-year-old girls drunk. They really
I was
shouldn't exist.
they
They
really
really
should.
shouldn't. No
The
self-respecting
demographic
adult is drinking a
is gonna
Zima.
get a like purchase wine cooler. Like I don't know if Dawn's mom got the memo that this is not real. This is not adult woman alcohol.
Right. And then
Yeah,
Don's mom again really kind of comes in
she
clutch.
does.
She's
She's developing
taking care of
her
Hannah.
parental maturity. You know,
Yeah.
she
And she
doesn't
calls Hannah's
lash out.
parents once Hannah's like well enough. She takes care of Hannah first and
Right.
whatever. And then once she's well enough, calls her parents. It's like, I'm so
Dawn is
sorry.
trash. Can we talk about how her little
Her like
sister's
stumbling.
traumatized and
Yeah.
like with it like stroking her hair while she's like quite literally passed the fuck out? Like
Yeah.
I would check her pulse every now and then, young like little sister. Like I'm not sure. It looks touch and go. And then she stumbles downstairs, like almost breaks her neck, and her mom's like, "Dawn, go back upstairs. I'll deal with you later." It's very mature the way her mom deals with this. She it's like mom to the rescue. It's about as good as you can
Mm-hmm.
get. I mean, she does have to say they got into the liquor cabinet like they're puppies, but other than that,
I mean, I get that.
yeah,
This is definitely a community where reputation matters.
yeah. They don't lock the liquor cabinet
Um,
apparently.
and then Hannah's parents, her dad really sucks in this scene because he's like, after all the times I've defended you, and da 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 da, like he's taking this shit personally. Like this is what
Yeah.
teenagers do.
Let her go to school tomorrow with her head pounding. That'll teach her. Like,
And her
bitch.
mom is like, this, you are not helping.
Yeah.
You are not helping. And
Yeah.
then Hannah's like, fuck you, mom, I have syphilis.
What?
And her mom's like, okay, well, you are going to school and straight home, and that's it for a while. Just like, I thought I was supposed to be able to make mistakes. And I love her mom here. She's like, you
Yeah.
can make the little mistakes, but like I'm supposed to try and keep you from making the big ones, and
Right,
syphilis is a
like
big one, girl.
syphilis.
Like,
Syphilis is the big one. Yeah, yeah. It's okay. The mom, this, and I think we mentioned it briefly, but the mom, this, since she found out that, no, this is the beginning of her crusade. She's found, because she finds out her daughter has syphilis, so now she's got to get everybody involved. Now this is a community issue, so
yeah, so she meets with
she's
Becca's mom,
corralling people. Yeah,
who's like, I'm not going to put my family's stuff on display, blah, 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 blah. It's rap music's fault. Which,
I'm
in
going to
general, don't
teach
blame rap music, but
abstinence.
we can
We can blame this,
blame
the
Kingpin Pimp,
kingpin pimp,
Kid
Kid
Elric.
Elric. Jinx. Yes.
And then
Um.
she goes to Nick's mom.
Oh my gosh, which is probably the worst mom.
It's so creepy. She's like, I wish he was using protection, and I'll have his father talk to him about that. But Nick's a
Mm-mm-mm.
good kid. He's a sports star and he gets good grades. And if he wants to fuck everybody, that's fine. I'd be
He's
more
on track.
concerned if he wasn't popular.
Yeah,
It
that's
is weird how invested the parents in this community are in their kids' popularity.
right. That's my primary issue with this is like, okay, so popularity over like sexual health,
It's because of,
popularity
I
over
feel like it's
well-being.
being driven home that it's, or maybe this is just what I'm reading, but I feel like it's, they're not even like subtle with the fact that like it is this community. It's a very like, it's
Yeah,
not what you know, it's who you know type of community. And like,
it is,
I don't
yeah.
care if my kid's a piece of shit as long as people are gonna like want him around, and they do.
Yes. That's a very much, that's what I was getting the gist of too. It's very community like centered, and they want us to like focus on the fact that like this is a very desirable thing for these kids, to be
Hmm.
sexually available and sexually like whatever, go with the flow, is equating to social currency. And that's
Hmm.
not how it works in every community, but it's riding dick and slanging dick. That's how you get to be popular in this community, which is
Very
really,
important. We need our
really,
kids to be
really,
popular.
it's the top priority. Yeah.
Um, and Hannah's lashing out, and her mom's really doing pretty well. Then we've got this weird scene where, like, first Brad threatens Hannah. He's like, if your mommy comes and talks to my mom, I'm gonna, like, make your life hell.
Yeah,
Which you
you're
didn't have sex with
yeah.
her, so.
Right, right. Like and Brad is like a background character. Like he hosted his parents are out of town a lot, and he hosted the first party that they went on a date to. That
Yeah.
Hannah and Nick, they went on their first date. So it, Brad is just supposed to. I don't know why all these dudes look like they're in their early 30s, but it's so weird. It's so weird to me. He looks old as hell,
Yeah.
and the fact that he's like pushing up on this tiny act, like the actress is small, she's the smallest girl, I mean, and I think Megan Park is not that tall either, so the fact that she's shorter than than Megan Park, she's probably like 5 foot, like she's pushing up on this girl, it looks so bad, it looks so bad.
It's
um
all. It's, yeah.
and she's getting a lot of aggression thrown her way because people are not liking that her
Because her mom's,
mom
like,
is
leading this
talking to
crusade.
people. Yeah, she's showing up on doorsteps, she's calling people, and I think, aren't they leaving her cello lesson when like they're trying to
Yeah,
pass
when
by an
Brad, like,
alley?
and they show him waiting beforehand. So like
Mm,
he intentionally like basically threatens them with his car, and
yeah.
Hannah's like, "Mom, I'm getting bullied to hell and back, and like stop turning me into a cause.
And
Like
I
I need you."
appreciate her
And
saying that.
because her
It's
mom's like, "It's
important.
not just about you; it's about other kids getting syphilis. Like this is a problem," which is valid as
It's
fuck.
valid, right,
But
right.
Hannah's like, "Okay, but you're my mom, and
You
I
should
need you to care
care.
about me."
Me, right. I'm going through this. This
Um,
shouldn't be a cause that you're like talking about other kids are going through this. You need to be here for me. I'm still going through it.
right.
Damn it.
And then Brad steals porn is a weird scene
Oh,
with
and
these kind of
this
like
is a
alty
well
girls.
executed, like, and I know it's kind of a classic bait and switch where it's like the one person pretends to set off the
She
alarm so
does
that the
it
other
so
person can
obviously though,
actually.
it's weird.
She does, and I
Like
don't know
I as a clerk
why.
would have called that shit right there.
Right, because he also passes by her immediately.
immediately. Well, and she like straight up goes, oops, and like reaches out. It's not like she
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
try
not
and
like
make it
she's
look like
trying
an
to
accident.
leave with the
Because
yeah.
apparently the teenagers just rule this town and nobody can rein them in
Nobody can
except for
control
Hannah's
these
mom
crazy kids.
and fake Dr. Sally.
Fake Dr.
She doesn't
Sally.
have a she does have a
Apprentice
name. I
Dr.
don't know what it
Sally.
is. Her name
I
is
don't
Dr. Sally.
I don't know who she is either, but I was my issue with Becca's mom in particular was that she was saying I need to teach abstinence in my home. Well, I really think you've been doing that and it hasn't been working.
It has not been working, clearly, because your daughter is the most popular girl in ninth grade, which means she's had the most sex.
Which means she's had the most sex. But we have to go to this assembly of all of the parents. What was it? The meeting of the parents? I don't because of the health issue.
Mm-hmm. And there's not a
Um.
lot of parents there, and they're arguing about abstinence and rap music
Mhm.
and
All of
whatever.
the
And
problems with our kids. I don't want them
Hannah's getting
teaching.
cyberbullied.
Yeah, there's. I mean, Hannah's really getting like you and your wait. I wrote one. You and your mom. Wait, you are a hoe and your M is a bitch. Like they couldn't
Yeah.
be bothered to continue spelling.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like
I don't know if I
early AIM
abbreviated that
days, like you
much.
abbreviated weird things.
Right. I'm like, I don't know if I would abbreviate. M and maybe I might have abbreviated mom and dad.
It's
It's
weird. It
possible,
was
but it
weird. It
but
was
it just
but it
hit
wasn't that far fetched. It's
different.
kind of how we
No,
talked on that.
right.
Um,
It hits different to see it like on a TV show or on a film because you're like obviously some 40-year-old guy had to like put this in a script like is what he
right.
thinks kids say, but it's not
He asks like
super
his
far off.
niece.
Right. Like the essence is there, right? Yes, because it's some child input. um but yeah, the
And then
mom,
Becca's
she's
being
trying to
sent to
find where he
the
is.
right. The mom is, yeah, and then Becca's being sent away to a Christian school. I thought she was running away
I
when
actually
she
did
climbed out that
too,
window with that
because she
giant ass
goes to
carpet bag. But she's like, "It's
yes,
my last night of freedom."
right. She looks like what, like one of those films. I want to say Brittany Murphy was in when she looks like she's on the road that entire fucking film.
Right?
Like she just looks like she's been through it. But yeah, she like my issue is like Dawn is literally living her best life, playing with her little sister, like
Pictionary with her mom and her
pictures
sister. It's cute. They've
like
turned into this like wholesome, healthy family.
yeah, like, and I'm like, okay, you're disrupting her peace, and she comes and has her leave, and they go to the internet cafe, and Dawn
Yep.
is clearly like, I'm really not fucking with this. I'm really not trying to be out here in these streets anymore. I would like to be
And
known for
Becca's like,
something
I'm gonna
other
go
than
hook up
sucking
with these
dick.
two guys in a car.
I mean, it's like I actually like that the mindset is different. But like I feel like they did show Dawn in the beginning correcting her sister's homework, so we know that she's smart and that she cares about her sister. She has personality traits. So the fact that she's like, yeah, I would actually like to go to a new school and get a new reputation, have a chance to start over, and like not be the girl who sucked dick and got syphilis, like
Right.
that would be really cool. Like, and she's like, I don't care. I'm going to just go my last night of freedom. I'm going to choose these random two guys near a car. So who knows how old they are. And,
Right.
that's what I'm going to do with my night. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Poor girl.
Meanwhile, Hannah is at Alex Tommy's house and they end up kissing and then like they're getting kind of heavy. And this is where I realized I actually like Alex
I
because
like
he's
him
like,
too.
no, I
Yeah.
don't
We
want to
don't
do
even
this.
know
And
what
she's
we're
like, is it because I'm a
doing.
slut? And he's like, no, it's because like I like you
Yeah.
and we
We're
have plenty of time to figure
kids.
this out.
Yeah, we don't even the fact he's so level-headed, like we don't even know what we're doing, like we have a lot of time, like you said, to figure it out. And she's like okay, so my issue was I know her syphilis has been she got her shot, but like does he know that? No.
No, because yeah, she says it. She's like, "Is it because of the syphilis? Because it's
I
been two
know.
weeks. Like I'm
Right.
good." And like,
I'm good.
no, Alex is actually pretty chill. We like
No, he
Alex
just doesn't. He's just like,
or
we don't have to
Tommy.
do this. Like, I've been dreaming about kissing you since I was 10. How about we do a lot more of that? We don't really need to
Right?
bring other.
We'll
We could
get there.
we
We'll
could
get
right. We'll
there.
get there. It could be a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to make out with somebody. It's a
So
lot
much
of. I
fun.
actually really think that making out is like one of my favorite parts of intimacy, more than sex sometimes, because like sex is just like can be anticlimactic, whereas like the lead up to it is really really fucking fun to me. So I'm like
Mm-hmm.
but I obviously I had to take time to discover that. But like when you discover that, oh, it's so great. Like kissing
No,
is
it's like I think we've
fun.
talked about. I've been getting back into old Hollywood movies where like they couldn't have sex.
Mhm. Yeah.
So there's all of this like tension and innuendo, and it is so much hotter than when they just go at it.
That is why people went fucking nut. Was it Pride and Prejudice over fucking gloves?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
it was such a like heated sort of time period where at any little sort of brush or like physical contact was just like burning you
Yeah.
with lust. Yeah, it's definitely the build up to things and like exploring each
But
other.
she's not having it.
She's not feeling that though. She's like, if you don't want to fuck me right here right now, you
Then
don't
you don't
like
want
me.
me.
You think like, or you think I'm a slut,
Right.
so you don't
And
want to
so
be
she
with me.
storms off and ends up at Brad's party. At this point in my notes, because it's kind of back and forthing between her and Becca, and
Yeah.
I was like, one of these girls is going to die. Like, I really
I was
thought that one of
yeah,
them was
one
going
of
to,
them was
like,
gonna
self
perish.
delete.
I mean, okay, so Becca seems like the most shady situation because she's in some like fucking dimly lit space. I'm gonna assume it's an alley because I think that just tracks. The car is parked with these two guys, and she's
Mm.
got them both in the back seat. Like, I will say that this young lady is talented in the way that I have never been able to entertain two people at once.
We're not going to get into that as far as my personal experience, but
I'm just
definitely not in the backseat of a fucking car.
right. That's
And
right.
she's
You're
way
working with,
smaller than I am, but still.
but still, you've got to
It's a
this.
sedan. Like
Mm,
it's not a coupe, but it's a
no
sedan. It's not an
sedan, right?
SUV. It's not a
It's
minivan.
not a. We don't even have like the look, like the roominess of a of an economy
No,
car. No, like
no.
we're girl. Yes, she is. Hmm. At the party that Hannah's at, she sees various things happening, and it's very much similar to the other party she was at in the beginning of the
Which
movie. But
okay,
this
wait, wait.
one,
So also we missed her mom had shown up
oh,
at the party. She's since
her
left.
mom's hack.
But
Yeah,
like there this party again, they're
it's
watching porn
disgusting.
in groups. She walks into this bedroom where
Oh,
like
right, the mom
a
is
girl is
stumbling through,
fucking
yeah,
getting fucked on a bed,
and
and
people or
there's like a
guys are
bunch of
watching.
guys crowded
Yeah,
around. Are they just watching? Are they
or are
waiting
they
for their
waiting for
turn?
their
Who
turn? We
knows?
don't know.
But there
Yeah,
is group sex of all variety. And again,
plenty.
group sex fine, voyeurism fine, like whatever you're into
Hmm.
fine. But these
Right,
are
but these
babies,
are
these are children.
kids. This
They
is
don't need
really,
to be
yeah.
exploring that yet.
It's disconcerting. And she stumbles she's in a daze at seeing this. She really can't
Mm-hmm.
believe she's seeing this. But of course, Brad's ass pops up and is like, "Do you want a beer?" Like, this is clearly someone's mother.
Right, even from behind, Brad, this is
Even
someone's
from
mom.
behind, that's a mom
Look at the way
haircut.
she
That's a
carries
mom.
herself. Look
Look
at
at that
her
coat.
haircut. Look at that coat.
Oh my gosh.
And then, like, the alt girls kind of bully her a little, I think.
Yeah.
And then Hannah shows up after she's gone and is like, "Is Becca here?" Um, and then goes down into the basement with Brad.
Yeah, he doesn't even really say words. He just kind of like if he says
He's
words,
like,
he's
"I
like,
think I saw her
"Yeah,
down
come
here."
here," right? But like the
Yeah,
fact that like she's I don't know. She's not intoxicated or anything to be swayed, but he's not being nice to her. He's been nothing but like a dick to her. I don't know why she's so willing to follow him
because she's
into
so
a
desperate to
deeper
find
part of
Becca.
her house. And yeah, it's right. That she's desperate to find Becca and I'm like, "Okay, this is obviously not good.
And,
Clearly,
like,
cannot end well."
and so then, like, he tries to kiss her and she's like, "No, thank you." So he slaps her and draws blood.
There's also another
Um,
couple making out on the
right,
couch
it's Nick
down
and
there,
somebody because
but
then
we
he
don't
starts,
see
like,
that it's Nick yet. When
not
they
at
first come in,
first.
yes, but right when he starts
And
being
Alex
violent towards
Tommy has
her,
shown up.
Yeah, she like Nick gets 0 points for just being like, "Hey, leave her alone," and all
Right,
Brad
and he
has to
doesn't even
say
do
is,
anything more than, hey, leave her
"Hey, leave
alone.
her alone," and Brad's like, "Stay out of this" or whatever. He's like,
And then
"Okay,
he just
man,
stands
all
there.
right."
Yeah.
Like, you guys are of equal stature. You could probably pull. I would be wagering to bet, because you are not as drunk as he is. It didn't look like that. You could pull. He was stumbling drunk. You could overpower him, or at least knock him back or something. He just was
And
gonna
like,
stand there and watch her be fucking raped.
right. And it's like, okay, so at best, Nick is not a violent rapist, and
Mm-hmm.
he will perhaps condemn it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't tell me that that man has not, that he's a child, but he's going to be a
Right.
man.
Right.
That this young gentleman has not used deception to get with girls. You
Mm-hmm.
can't tell me that he wouldn't be above stealthing.
Yeah.
Which, if people don't know, that's when you start with a condom on and then slip it off without your partner knowing.
Yeah, which is
Um,
very terrifying.
like, this dude is definitely date rapey. Like,
He
he
is.
is not violent
He's
rapist, but
got
this guy is
coercion
definitely
in
going
him.
to
Yeah.
have more than his fair share of sexual encounters where consent is questionable at best.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and then Alex pops in and like turns on the light and holds up his like camera
Handy dandy
phone.
video cam. And the
Oh,
fact
I
that
totally
he did
forgot. We get
mention
this.
he did mention that like earlier in the film, but it was
Yeah,
just
that he's got a
very
camera phone
briefly.
and those are very new. We
And he
also,
can
I
email.
forgot that we got a shot of Alex giving Major Jason DeLaurentis vibes with like a whole collection of creeper shots of Hannah.
Yes. I
Um,
think, yeah.
but which it further led to my thinking he was going to be creepy, but somehow he's not.
Somehow he's
Um,
not.
and he shows up and like takes a picture and he's like, I'm sending this to the police if you don't get off of her right now.
Yeah, one more
And then I
move
thought
and
he
I
was gonna
email this to
die.
911. Yeah, I thought he was going to get fucked up or possibly like taken out. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust people. Like, if I don't trust you, I'm not going to turn my back to you. So the fact that he waited to put his phone
Mm-hmm.
down until after the Brad was passing behind him, I'm like, no, he can smack you in the head or knock you over. Like,
There were actually, anytime Brad was involved, like I didn't think it was above Brad to like
mhm.
accidentally or on purpose kill Hannah's mom.
Yeah. Brad was definitely a mixed bag, a wild card, if you will. And I did not know where he was coming from or going. So yeah.
As they say in Chicago, stay away from jazz and liquor and the men who play for fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Can I call out Dawn, because I Dawn comes back from the internet cafe without any, unscathed, but she's got this hat on that I think is probably the most unoffensive hat I've seen in this time period, except for the fucking buckle, but I'll let it go. And she's rocking that hat.
no, it's a
Like,
cute little hat.
it's a
And
cute
you
little
know
hat.
what? I like how her mom handles it of being like, you know what? Nope, we're just gonna come back to playing board games. Like I do trust you because Dawn didn't go out and do anything wrong. She went and sat with her
Yeah,
friend.
she
They're
went and
both going
supported her
through
friend.
something very fucking traumatic.
Right.
Um, we see Becca crying in bed. She does not self delete, but she's very sad about her most recent threesome, or
Yeah.
maybe she's
Climb
sad about
back in
being
her
sent
room.
away.
Yeah, she just looks,
Um,
she's definitely looking a
with her fucking
little,
carpet bag.
she looking a little lost, a little broken, and of course her curtains are billowing. They are paid. The curtains in this film are paid actors. I really want to like.
Like
We
the
got
pot
some
and
billowing
Christmas at Maple
ass
Creek.
curtains. Yeah, like come on now. But yeah,
Um,
she's going through it internally.
and then like we have this shot of her sister going upstairs and picking up like the fishnet top or something.
And taking
And
off
what
her
it's
glasses and like her, so she can't see, girl. Get you some contacts. She really can't see. Like me, when I take off my glasses, I squint.
and what you know what it was giving for me was
Mm.
like in like the later end of the aughts,
Mm-hmm.
um, there was this anti-meth campaign that
Yeah.
had all these commercials that were hilarious. And there's one,
Mm-hmm.
like, one of the taglines is like, there'll be or a commercial where it's somebody being like, I'm going to try meth just once, and they try meth at a party, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to shoot up meth just once, or like, what, I'm stealing
Yeah.
from meth just once, and it progresses and progresses, and then at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
commercial, it's the girl's little sister picking up the pipe being like, I'm going to try meth just once. And
Yeah.
that's what it was giving me, and it was like so
Absolutely.
ham-handed and so like,
Mm-hmm.
why is
Like
this girl who has shown nothing but kind of disdain and like
this
embarrassment for her sister's
slight
behavior
indifference, right? Like
suddenly gonna be like, oh, but let me check out this hoe top?
right, literally her sister's been so well informed of the bullshit. Like she's had a front row seat to
Right, she
all of this
watches the
fucking
mom and is like,
foolishness. Right.
okay,
She's
like,
got it.
no.
This is how you end up. This is what you could this is what if you wanted to like she's got both like very strong examples of like not what not to do.
Right,
And she
right.
is seeing how traumatized her sister is trying to recover
It's
from this
very
shit.
bad writing in my, it's one of those things that like,
You
not that it's easy for me to, or not that it's hard for me to be taken out of this movie, but it's very
mhm.
like, it is a slap in the face reminder that this is an after school cautionary tale special.
I was going to say they could have left that out and I really think it would have been like this film took for all of its taking itself seriously. I think up until that point it does a really great job of showing you things like we know we're I think kind of like how Degrassi does, like we know we're watching something with an agenda. They're trying to persuade us, of course, but at the same time you don't have to be so ham-fisted, and I think Degrassi gets to the point where they're not so ham-fisted and they hit
Right.
their stride with like, okay, we can add the elements of trying to persuade our audience into
Unless it's
feeling this
about weed,
way, unless it's about weed, because we just don't fucking like weed. But we
even
also
for
have
cancer.
to, even for cancer as a legitimate but we also have to balance it out with character development and realistic occurrences, and we want to try not to be too dramatic because like I just like think about what Darcy did and then what Claire did. Like Claire watched everything that Darcy did and she made
Mm-hmm.
her own mistakes, but they were vastly different mistakes.
Vastly different
Like, and I
mistakes.
think that that would be more realistic because we've just got no indication that the sister should be characterized this way. She's not following after her sister.
Right.
She doesn't seem to desire any of the stuff that her sister has. She actually seems to think her sister is a little bit airheaded and like the concerns she has aren't like are dumb. So
Yeah.
I like the little bit of characterization we have. I'm not buying it. That little girl just seemed like she's got like out of the two, she seemed the more level-headed one. So
Yeah, it
I'm
was
not
weird.
buying
I
that.
did not like that choice. Like, it was dramatic and I liked it for the like hilarity of it, but
Yeah.
it was not a choice I would have made.
No, I do like how they opened and ended the film with that picture, and obviously I I'm
I mean,
taking
I
away from it what they wanted me to, but I just think it was one of the more successful films about this topic.
yeah, no, it was not that bad. Like, it was way more enjoyable than I feel like a lot of these are going to be. It
Hmm.
was very extra. The acting was decent.
It held up on a rewatch. I will say that I really remember this film. I haven't rewatched it in so many years, but it's one of those films that you don't forget very easily.
Right.
So like rewatching it, I'm like, okay, there except for like me repressing some of the extent of like the sexual bits, I was like, okay, I really do remember all of this film, and I mean it holds up, and I would show it to like teens, couple teens I know could corral your asses and sit down and look at this and maybe take something because I don't think it's so out of touch with kids now. Like I think it's
Yeah.
still like some of it could be outdated, but I think the core of it would still hold their attention because it's badly written for like a film that would be released obviously in a theater or something, but
Well,
like
yeah, no, it's a made for TV
it's
movie.
made for
It's a made
TV,
for TV
but I
movie.
think out of these made for TV movies, it is one of the better written made for
Hmm.
TV movies.
No, I would
It's
agree with
pretty
that.
well written.
It's suspenseful. It's, they do the tension well. The cello really
Mhm.
helps.
Mhm. We
The
get good characterization.
hmm
Um it's definitely like they make an effort to explore this issue from multiple perspectives.
yeah,
So, I appreciate that. And for what Lifetime becomes, they really do like this era of Lifetime. Like I just finished watching Sharing the Secret, and it's from 2000. So and it's one of those another epidemic movie, but this one was about bulimia and eating
nice,
disorders.
nice.
And so I'm like, they don't really try to make films like this as much anymore. So I do have to appreciate the attempts. But yes,
Right.
this it's a great film. Miriam did her thing. This is definitely the
Miriam did a
height.
really good job in this movie.
Yeah, this is like the height I think of her, like the beginning of her glow up of it.
hmm
And I always say glow up very loosely because I really just think what we saw was just puberty.
Yeah,
We
no,
just saw her
same.
grow up. She just really grew into a lot of her features. So it was great to
I mean, I
see.
think glow up still fits because I think she
Yeah,
grows up to be quite beautiful.
yeah, it does still fit. It does still fit. And like honestly, the wardrobe I did touch on it a little bit, but they dressed her to the nines in this film. You know, pre her repression, but even after, they still give her really cute outfits.
Yeah, no,
Um,
she's well dressed. The wardrobe did a good job. The makeup department. This might have been a union crew.
I would suspect yeah, I would say so.
Overall, good movie. Miriam did a great job.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I give it like 7.5 out of 10.
Because I'm coming from the nostalgia point of view, and I do feel like it holds up really well. I'll bump it up to an 8, 8 out of 10.
As a first time viewer,
Yeah, right. For me, right, I have to think about how much the shit shocked me as a teen and how much I was just like still appalled, but just for a completely different reason.
yeah, no, it was appalling. It was appalling. Like, that's not really my scene ever, but like, whatever, consenting adults. Teenagers, that scares me. It made me uncomfortable and scared
Mm,
to
yeah.
think that teenagers were having weird orgy parties,
Yes. Very
that freshmen
exactly.
were at
Uncomfortable
these
and
weird
scared.
orgy parties.
It's really concerning, and I just don't want to.
Like, I don't like the idea of juniors doing it either, but there's something so much more terrifying about like
Yeah.
little baby freshmen.
Yeah. It's definitely they go there. They go there in this film. They
It goes
decided
there.
they wanted to go there and they went there. They went all
They
the way there.
really went there.
I was
They
like,
were
this
like,
is some shit I've never,
let's pack Degrassi and Euphoria.
I was gonna say, although are there threesomes in Euphoria or group sex? I don't think so.
Maybe there's not.
Just a lot of like, I mean, there is a lot of sex, but no, rando sex more than like group
Random,
sex.
yeah,
Yeah, like it's just not.
and
This is
not
a
even
yeah.
really rando for the most part.
No, it was more cat having semi randos like oral,
Yeah,
but not
and
really.
Jules to a
And
degree.
right, Jules too. Right, but no group stuff. Group
No,
stuff in teenagers is just frightening.
it's frightening.
It's just frightening.
That's
Like
a
regular
lot to
sex
take
is
on.
frightening. No, no,
You
like
need
no
to
cap,
know
but
like how you feel about yourself
hmm
and how you feel about yourself in relation to other people and in relation to sex. And like, I
hmm
don't think that it is possible at that age to go into that knowledgeable,
right.
like knowledgeable enough to make that decision. Because for some people, like, it's not a big thing. For other
hmm
people it is,
hmm
and you're way too young to know what kind of person you are. Like, you have not had the life experience, you have not had the time to stew on your life experience. Like, take some time before you're having group sex.
I think that
Move out of your
that's
parents' house for a bit first, at the very least. Like, pay some bills.
yeah. And I think that that's sound advice. It's just not, you're not where like, ideally where your brain should be. You're impulsive. Your brain is not fully developed for quite a few years after high school, and
Right.
it's just not the good time for like sound decision making that you're going to stand by in 5 years, cuz you won't. Do you know how many things that we did in high school that we don't stand by, but that fuck it, I mean, I guess I had to go through it to make me who I am, but like I don't endorse this.
Right. Right.
Like a
If I
lot
could
of
go back, I
things.
probably wouldn't make this decision.
Yeah. And I mean, it's everybody's got a different journey, but I really do appreciate this film for it holding up, but also just for it at face value. It's a good film.
Yeah. So I
Um
guess that ends the second meeting of
yeah,
the
I guess
Degrassi Film Club.
yeah, we haven't decided what we're doing for our third meeting.
We will let you
We
know.
will let you know, or you'll just tune in next time to find out. Either one. But yeah, I think this meeting is adjourned.